What's going on, everyone? I hope you're very well. I hope you're having a very good start of the week. Today, I thought I'd show you this video where we're going to be working on these little seedlings. If you're in my terrariums and aquariums channel, this might be a bit different, but I thought this will also be a very good idea because there's a lot of people who like terrariums and aquariums and plants. And if you're in my bonsai channel, well, of course, right? Pine is one of the traditional species that is used as bonsai. And so today, I thought it would be a very good idea to talk a little bit about pines, since it's one of my favorite species, you know. So what we can see here is a seed tray, maybe not a tray, but a seed container with these pines. These are Pinus Cembroides. I'm gonna write down the name, the scientific name, in the box, you know, in the comment box. And yeah, you can see that I've got tons and tons of these little seedlings. Over here I've got some Japanese black pines. You can see the difference in the foliage. Yeah, this one is like a bit thicker. Another Japanese black pine, you know. And over here you've seen this little guy before. It's one of my deodar cedars, right? Yeah, so as you can see, pines, and they're one of my favorite species to work as bonsai. And so I thought I'd share a couple of tips, you know, a couple of things that have worked for me in the past years. And so if you want to try this from scratch, you know, it's perfectly doable. It's feasible. You just got to have a little bit patience, and that's it, you know. But I think, you know, when you get something out of nothing, like from scratch, from seed, you start a bonsai project from seed, it's a very big satisfaction that you get out of it, you know, because you get to experience every stage of the way, as opposed to buying something, which is totally fine too. You can go and buy a seedling, a sapling, or a pre-bonsai. Anyway, it's you know, it's enjoyable all the way. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to take a couple of these and I'm going to transplant them into these little styrofoam cups. And in the process, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the substrate that I use, you know, how I grow them, you know, what they like, what they don't like. And yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this up with substrate, and we can talk about that. Okay, so let's take a look. So here I have my little containers already filled with the soil, and as we can see here, it's a very porous mixture, and that's the first thing that I can comment on pines. You know, they like very well drained soils. Yeah, so what I do, it's take an absorbent mineral, in this case this is zeolite, and mix it with just a little bit, about 30% of the whole mixture of an organic material. If it's a spongy, you know, material that can hold its shape very well, that would be ideal. You know, so you can use peat moss, or you can use cocoa coir. This is cocoa coir, you know, because I've heard from Monty Dunn actually that peat moss is not sustainable. So, you know, depends on what you want to use and what's available. Well, you can use worms castings, you can use gardening soil, whatever, wherever it's available to you. But you got to remember that proportion, right? 70% an absorbent mineral like zeolite, akadama, pumice, and then 30% of organic matter. So I've got them here. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come in carefully and extract a little seedling. Yeah, so we can see that the root goes down. It's, you know, very simple. Oh, sorry, I was just looking at it. It's very simple, you know. Very simple root structure. You can see that at the tip there are other little roots that are emerging from the sides, and yeah, it's just a matter of sticking them into the soil, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. I'm going to plant these individually because obviously we have a ton here. Yeah. And another thing that we can do for bonsai growing is that you remove the taproot. In this case, it's all taproot. So what you do is that you cut a little bit of the root, the main root here, so that the new roots can come out from this little section of the plant, yeah, and they can grow laterally instead of vertically, or in this case downwards, right? So that's going to give you a very, very thick little pine in no time, yeah, and it's actually going to be very, very well adjusted to living in a container as opposed to growing in the field or in your garden or whatever. So if you want to plant this one in your garden, it's just a matter of, you know, putting it in the soil. Want to grow it as bonsai, you can clip the tips, yeah. Some Japanese masters, what they do is that they cut the whole thing, you know. In my experience, and since I live in a very tropical place, I don't do that. I do clip the tip, you know, the main taproot, but I don't remove it completely, and that has given me very good results. So if you're a beginner like me, maybe you want to do that instead of removing the whole thing. So I'm going to grow these as bonsai. So I'm going to clip the tip, I'm going to plant them, and then we'll take a look what they look like when it's all finished. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here I have the ones that I wanted to plant. Yeah, they're all in their individual little styrofoam cups. And the good thing about these little cups is that they are reusable. You know, you can use them again and again as long as you take care of them and you don't crush them or something like that. But yeah, we can see that we have them here. I still have a ton left to transplant, but this is going to be a process that's going to happen in the next coming days and weeks, you know. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about something I completely forgot, and I immediately realized when I started recording. It's the seed, right? We're trying to grow them from scratch, from seeds. And these are the pine nuts. You can buy them from your grocery store. If you buy them like this, it's pretty much a guarantee that they'll germinate, you know. They're very easy to germinate. All pines are very easy to germinate. You just have to soak them in water. Soak them in water, if it can be cold water, inside the fridge for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, and then you plant them. You have a very, very good success rate. Of course, that will also have to do with, that also has to do with how fresh your seeds are. But in general, as long as they're fresh, you soak them a little bit and you germinate them, you'll have very, very good results. And that applies to all pine species virtually, because these are Pinus Cembroides, Japanese black pine, Italian stone pine over here. Pinus Cembroides. Sorry, airplane. And yeah, like I said before, the cedar, Cedrus deodara, that's another species that we can work with as pine. So, soak them in water, good draining soil. And another thing that I want to mention is that light exposure is very important as well. You gotta put these in full sun. They love the sun. They love their sun. So it's very, very important that you also put them in a very, very well lit place. Let's take a look at another Japanese black pine that I have over there. So this is another Japanese black pine seedling that I have here. We can see that this is growing very well. And this is not growing in a particularly small container. And this goes for pines that you want to grow, as specimen trees. Trees for your garden, trees for very big pots. You can totally do that. And the same principles apply. I know that it will be very, very expensive and maybe not very practical to fill an entire top with akadama or with pumice or with zeolite. But as long as you follow the same principle of a very well-draining soil, you have absolutely no problem. So, for example, this is a Japanese black pine, but over here I can show you another Pinus Cembroides that is growing in a bigger container, granted with a bunch of weeds, but you can see that it's not zeolite, it's not pumice, but it's well draining soil, lots of minerals, good drainage, and your trees will grow, right? So anyway, I thought I'd show you this very short video how to grow pines, very short video on how to grow them, what they like, what they don't like, so give it a go. Try it by yourself. If you have any comments, questions, doubts, anything, drop them down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay?